at the beginning of the election campaign, hadn't really intended to vote at all. That many of them hadn't even intended to register to vote. That many of them expected that this election campaign was just going to be like so many other election campaigns, a tedious sort of point-scoring match between campaign managers from the two old parties, the Labour and the Conservative parties. But they suddenly sensed that we could do something different this time. That there was more choice. That what they'd been told for years, that they're only allowed to choose between two parties, was no longer true. That there was an alternative. That there was the possibility, for once, that as a nation we could do something different. And thousands of them, thousands of young people, rushed to register to vote before it was too late, before the deadline kicked in.
And there we're going to leave Nick Clegg as he continues on his campaign as well. All the main party leaders out campaigning today. You have the 6 o'clock news in just a couple of minutes, and we'll hear from our political editor, Nick Robinson, to see where he thinks we are this bank holiday Monday. In the meantime, it's goodbye from me, and Nicholas Owen will be with you in just a couple of moments.
The final push. The parties pledged non-stop campaigning until polling day. David Cameron denies complacency after setting out what he would do in his first days in number 10.
We still have everything to do to win it, and you're going to see real energy in these last 3 days, getting right across the country.
Also on tonight's programme, a sea cadet of 14 dies after falling from the rigging of a training ship in the Solent. Taking to the skies, American and Continental combine to make the world's biggest airline.
While you're thrilling to her charms, be sure to...
And we meet her again, a new album of Dame Vera Lynn's lost songs. Good evening. Welcome to the BBC News at 6. David Cameron has said he's not complacent about winning the election after the Liberal Democrats criticised him for outlining what he would do in his first few days in government. The Liberal Democrat leader Nick Clegg said Mr Cameron was breathtakingly arrogant and was already measuring up the curtains for number 10. But the Conservative leader insisted he still had it all to do. Gordon Brown pledged to campaign every second, every minute and every hour up to the election. Our first report tonight is from our Deputy Political Editor, James Landale.
For David Cameron, in the last days of the campaign, there is only one reality. He has a small lead in the polls, but it needs to grow if he's to win the election outright. At a garden centre in Blackpool, he said he was taking no vote for granted. And tomorrow he'll campaign through the night to prove his point.
If I was overconfident, I wouldn't be going on a 24-hour non-stop campaign to win over the last undecided voters. But I think people do want to know, if you win on Thursday, what would change on Friday? And the argument we're making is if you get a Conservative government, you know that from day one, we could start to make the changes that I think people want in our country.
And he's not shy in making his priorities clear. A bill to scrap ID cards and home improvement packs. One to allow parents to set up schools free from town hall